Should we put my integrity under contract?
It already is.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We're thrilled that we've been able to create for you free access to over 587 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, how to grow wealth, and really how to get the most out of life. And the great news is you get access to them from home, from the office, or on the go. And I think what we want to do this time is explore something, because you just said, is your integrity under contract?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, it is.
Okay.
And so we're going to explore, what is an integrity contract?
Well, that's a great question. I kind of learned the term because people don't actually write integrity contracts, physically write them, I don't think, but maybe some.
We've written a few.
Yeah.
When
Well, we
we've taken
did with
some
teenagers
courses,
and things. Said, yeah, this is the contract for living under our roof. Yeah, that's when you get intervention going on. But we learned this concept when we were in California taking our two grandsons, Caleb and Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to I guess it would be kind of an emotional
literacy workshop.
Yeah.
For teens, but really, it wasn't really for teens.
It was for everybody that was there.
It was for everybody that was there. So the teens got to bring an adult with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the idea is that often teens are learning how to have emotional literacy, how to function emotionally soundly.
Yeah.
And the challenge is sometimes it's harder for them because the adults in their life aren't doing such a good job of it either.
No, because we learned from the previous generation and so on and so forth. And
we all...
Let's face it, most of us are a little dysfunctional.
Right. So we pick up bad habits here and there, and then we bring them along. And so this was a brilliant concept to bring the teens into the room and bring the adults with the teens rather than the other way around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided we'll skip a generation and we'll take our grandsons when they were teens, mid-teens. And it was an incredible experience. We had learned the concept before, but we really got to live it out with the kids, right? So what is an integrity contract? Is it written always?
No, but it can be. Like there's lots of contracts that are written, marriage contracts, contracts for goods and services. And usually a contract has a specified delivery date, something that's going to be given, what the consequences are quite often if it's not met.
Right. Well, you know what my favorite contract is.
No, I don't. Tell me.
The agreement of purchase and sale.
Oh.
I mean, I've become expert at the agreement of purchase and sale. And how that contract is written actually matters. Just the other day, I got a contract in for a property and there was a conditional date, because sometimes in contracts there is provisions, conditions, provisions, terms, things that have to be allocated for to either be completed. There's things to be carried out still. And inside this particular contract, there were some conditions, not only terms, and there was no date on the condition, only a day of the month and a year, but the month was missing. And so we're missing any sort of vital piece of information on an agreement of purchase and sale. That's obviously an issue. But even in our unwritten contracts that we have with each other, if we forget to be specific, we may not honor our contract without even knowing that we didn't honor it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you say, I'll be home for dinner, that could sound good. But in my mind,
I will be, because I want to eat when I get home.
Exactly. Precisely. And maybe that means 7:00 to you. And in my head, it means 5:00. And so if I had simply said, so what time is it you're hoping to have dinner? Right? So missing that vital piece of information means without even knowing it, you've messed up on your integrity contract.
Right. And that's when relationships can go a little bit sideways. When that's when people don't know what the unwritten integrity contract is. But sometimes there is unwritten, but it's still spoken. Right. And that might be that I won't spend time alone with a woman by myself, that's alone, right?
I think that's the same thing. Yeah, I think.
What I mean is, like, I travel a lot, and sometimes there's women there, but we're in a group of people, so it's not putting myself in a place where there's more temptation than really I need to put myself in.
Right. And in what other areas are you thinking? I mean, we talked a little bit about coming home at a certain time. I mean, that's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we've seen that, we've experienced in the past how catastrophic that can be.
Oh, yeah. A little thing like that can really set someone off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another place could be we decided we're only going to invest in what we've discussed and we both agree on.
Mm-hmm.
That set us off a few times. Or maybe we've set an amount of money that we'll spend without connecting with the other person. And sometimes that's like, people will go, okay, you've got $20 a week or $100 a week. This is, we used to call it mad money, right? This is your fun money, your spending money. When you're through that, you're done. Or maybe it's, we don't buy anything over $100 or over $50 or over $500, whatever your limit is, without seeking the confirmation of our spouse or partner, this case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're living on your own, you might say something like, well, I don't spend more than $100 if I don't go home and sleep on it and then buy it the next day. That's an integrity contract with yourself.
Right. So
a boundary. So
really just thinking about what things do you want to have contracts, and contract sounds like such a formal thing. It doesn't have to be formal, but somehow adding that word to it makes it mean more. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if I have to think about what things am I willing to live haphazardly around.
Right.
Because that's really what ends up happening. If we don't think this stuff through in advance, it's just, it happens. It haphazardly happens. And then our life doesn't work the way we intended it to work.
Yeah. And I think things like, even we see couples all the time where they're struggling. And sometimes it's around understanding what roles they play in the house. What, you know, how much do I pick up my clothes after myself?
No, you don't.
Sometimes I do.
Okay, once in a while. It seems to be more my skill set, and I've developed it. But, you know, I've learned a few things around that. I generally will pray for you as I'm picking it up rather than be frustrated with you, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Right? That's a nicer way to deal with it. And it's only a small pile right next to the side of his bed. So it's not a big deal. And the hamper's not far away. So as I'm making the bed, if I'm doing it that day on that side of the bed, we usually make it together.
Well, that's one of our commitments, right? Is to make our bed daily.
Exactly. So that would be a small integrity contract. But then I feel like I have a win before the day starts. Mm-hmm. So turning even those mundane things into something that feels better rather than nagging you for it, because it really hasn't helped much, or it didn't help much for the first many years, right? Yeah,
exactly. So there's a ton of things that you can look at in your life and decide, is this something that I'm out of integrity with? Is this something that I need to reset my integrity contract? So Les Brown says that make sure that you honor your commitments with integrity, which is an interesting, he put the two words together like that. And we're excited to be with you, and we thank you for growing alongside of us, because we are passionate about all of us being positioned for generational legacy.
Moving forward with